President Donald Trump of the United States, U.S., has called on the general public, especially married people and intending couples, to make sure the door remains closed, apparently to avoid exposing their marital life to the public. This, he stated on Friday while reacting to a video footage of French President Emmanuel Macron, who was probably seen being slapped by his wife, Brigitte, when the two first family of France were about to deplane shortly after they arrived at Noi Bai International Airport in Hanoi, Vietnam on May 25, 2025 for an official visit, which stands as the first trip to Vietnam by a French president in nearly a decade. President Emmanuel Macron, who is 47 years old and currently doesn't have a child of his own, at age 15, started having an affair with his La Providence high school teacher, Brigitte, who was almost in her 40th then, married, and she was living with her husband with 3 kids. Although 15 years is the legal age where one can no longer be considered as a minor in France, but Macron parents, who were not happy of seeing their son having an affair with Brigitte, whose 2 out of her 3 children were almost a year older than Emmanuel Macron, tried their best to dissolve the relationship by thus relocating Emmanuel Macron to Paris to continue his education. The efforts of the French president, Emmanuel Macron's parents, to scatter the relationship proved abortive after Emmanuel Macron rounded off his education and switched back his love life to his married old school teacher, Brigitte, who later in January 2006, divorced her husband, Ozziria, who later died on December 24, 2019, and married Emmanuel Macron on the 20th of October 2007. Brigitte's former husband and the father of her 3 children, who are currently in their early and late 40s, of the same age bracket with their stepfather, President Emmanuel Macron, died 2 years after Emmanuel Macron became president of France on May 7, 2017. According to CNN, some beliefs and unwritten laws in France protect the private life of politicians, and when the video footage of Brigitte appears to have slapped the #1 citizen of France, President Emmanuel Macron, the French media only broadcast the video temporarily, and in less than 24 hours, the news of the video was no longer seen on the French media airspace. Macron, shortly after the video footage went viral, dismissed the video and the domestic violence it suggests. Emmanuel Macron claims he simply joked with his wife, as they do quite often. But close watchers observed that when President Emmanuel Macron offered his hand to his wife, as they often do while coming down from the plane stairs, the visibly unhappy Brigitte probably refused, and she was seen walking down the aircraft staircase alone. As the door of the plane opened, Brigitte Macron's arm could be seen eagerly holding a hand to her husband's face. Looking surprised, the head of state quickly turned to say hello out. The presidential couple then got engaged on the stairs, and Emmanuel Macron stretched out his arm to his wife as he usually does. But she didn't grab it and held on to the catwalk, one of the close watchers stated. When President Donald Trump was asked by a reporter about the viral video appearing to show French President Emmanuel Macron being slapped, more than 60 people, including soldiers and terrorists, have been killed during the week as Boko Haram terrorists and men of the armed forces of Nigeria, AFN, continued to launch offensive and counter-offensive battles on each other in Borno State, with the Nigerian army saying in a series of news releases issued during the week that 2 of its soldiers paid the supreme price on Tuesday when the Boko Haram terrorists engaged New Mate community in an offensive operation, and more than 60 of the terrorists were killed at Bitter community when troops of the armed forces of Nigeria launched a coordinated offensive attacks against the terrorists on Thursday, and on Friday at Kakawa community. The army said it killed one of the major leaders of the Boko Haram insurgents, Amir Abu Fatima, who has 100 million naira's bounty placed on his head due to his notorious and disastrous activities. It would be recalled that in recent months, the Boko Haram terrorists appeared to be advancing and engaging communities and the Nigeria military in a series of attacks that have forced soldiers in some military base in Borno to flee, the army barracks sacked and burned down, and the governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, earlier in the month said that, out of 300 communities in Mate local government area, Boko Haram terrorists are currently in control of 299 communities. According to the Nigerian army, In a major counter-terrorism success, special forces under Operation Hanoi conducted a precision strike on the 30th of May 2025, targeting a key Boko Haram, ISWAP stronghold in the Kakawa axis of northern Borno State. The operation, based on credible intelligence, aimed to neutralize Amir Abu Fatima, a notorious terrorist commander who has a 100 million nairas bounty on his head. During the intense exchange of fire, Abu Fatima was fatally wounded by gunfire. His deputy, several explosives experts, and multiple other terrorists were also eliminated in the confrontation. Troops recovered several AK-47 rifles, magazines, assorted ordnance, and IED-making materials. The mission was completed without casualties on own forces. This operation delivers a significant blow to terrorist leadership in the region and reinforces the armed forces of Nigeria's avowed commitment to restoring peace in the northeast. In a decisive and coordinated operation, gallant troops of Operation Hanoi launched a simultaneous land and air assault on terrorist positions in Bitter, Borno State, in the early hours of today, Thursday, May 29, 2025. The intense battle resulted in the neutralization of at least 60 terrorists. In the early hours of May 27, 2025, troops of Operation Hanoi, OPHK, foiled an attack by Boko Haram, ISWAP terrorists on their location in New Marte, Borno State. The failed attack was repelled by a combined effort of ground forces and the air component of OPHK. The terrorists attempted to infiltrate the troops' location, but were met with heavy gunfire. The air component provided immediate intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance, ISR, and offensive fire support, leading to the decimation of Edo State Governor, Monday Okpebholo of the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC on Friday says, his predecessor, Godwin Obaseki is currently hiding in the United States, US since he allegedly ran away from Nigeria and abandoned Asuan Ighodalo, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, PDP in the last September 21st governorship election in the state, categorically saying that the PDP is making the people in the state to always celebrate, because, according to Okpebholo, all the money the PDP, the political party of ex-Governor Obaseki allegedly stole were taken to the state election petition tribunal and appeal court with the alleged intention to bribe the judges of the courts, but the courts ruled otherwise and affirmed him as the winner of the Gova poll. Governor Okpebholo offered what he called a political amnesty to his co-contender in the last year governorship election, Asuan Ighodalo, calling on his opponent to accept the decisions of the lower tribunal court and appeal court and decamped from PDP to join APC so that they can work together to move Edo State forward. Details of the report as contained in the news releases made available by the Edo State Governor Chief Press Secretary, Fred Ichua reads verbatim below. Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo has said the regular defeat of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has given the people continuous cause for celebration. The State Deputy Governor, Right Honorable Dennis Idahosa, party leaders, youths, market women and other party stalwarts, joined the governor on a motorcade around Benin City to celebrate the appeal court judgment which gave victory to the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC. According to the governor, God will continue to give Edo people victory as he is in charge of affairs of the state. The PDP is making us celebrate in the state. We have defeated them in the governorship election, tribunal and now at the appeal court. We will still defeat them at the Supreme Court. We will continue to defeat them, he said. The governor commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for his interest in the state, noting that Edo is enjoying development and growth. According to him, 2027 is a done deal in Edo and Edo people will surely cast their votes for the president come 2027 and nobody can stop Edo people's voice, not even the PDP. All the money they have stolen in Edo State was taken to court to buy judges and judgment, but they failed as judges refused to be bought and they ensured they did the right thing. Those who wanted to steal the people's mandate are crying that their mandate has been stolen. They are following their masters like Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and Mr. Peter Obi, who are leading them to form a coalition which will not stand. The time of PDP is over in Edo State, and under my watch, Edo people will continue to enjoy practical governance and development. The state is experiencing development and growth. The first flyover is under construction at Ikpoba Hill in Ikpoba Oka local government area. The second and third is underway, he added. In a significant show of political magnanimity, Edo State Governor, Senator Monday Okpebholo, has offered an unconditional political amnesty to the candidate of the People's Democratic, Anthony Arden aka Tony Kabaka, one of the most prominent youth leaders in Nigeria, believed to have thousands of youths very loyal to him, during the week, came out with a video press release to confirm before the general public that he was invited by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over petitions and allegations of Naira abuse, stating that he honored the invitation because nobody is above the law, but he decided to issue the video press release because of Albert Obese, a loyalist of the immediate past Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki, whom he accused of always insulting him and trying to spoil his name on social media. Thus, he issued a threat message to pluck off his teeth and break his bones with his own bare hands anytime Albert Obese, who is currently living in London, comes to Nigeria, adding that, since his parents cannot call him to order, and if Albert Obese ever insults him on social media platforms again, his parents' home will be visited and the parents will start feeling the heat. Although, in less than 24 hours after issuing the statement, Tony Kabaka issued another video press release at night, apologizing to the parents of Albert Obese and withdrew his apparent threat messages earlier issued against them. But hours after issuing the apology message on Tuesday, on Wednesday, Albert Obese cried out on social media, raised an alarm that his own house situated at Amagba area in Benin City has been attacked and properties destroyed by people he suspected to be Tony Kabaka and his boys. Emphasizing that nobody is above the law in the first video he issued, Tony Kabaka said he went to EFCC office as invited and his lawyer took him on bail, saying, he wonders why Albert Obese is going about on social media platforms giving all manners of narratives as if he has done something wrong to honor EFCC invitation. Tony Kabaka also accused Albert Obese of being the alleged instigator that went about and started reposting the videos of him spraying money at 3 different ceremonies which he said made EFCC to invite him. According to Tony Kabaka, the videos of the alleged abuse of Naira notes were events that were held long ago, a period he said, he never knew the government was really serious about the CBN Act of Naira abuse. Stressing that, the videos and the events were recorded and held long ago before his close associate and co-official colleague in the Edo State government, Kelly Akumboa aka Ebo Stone, allegedly violated the Naira abuse laws, which, he was also invited by the EFCC. While apologizing to Albert Obese parents over his comments and apparent threat, Tony Kabaka listed many wrongs the London-based Albert Obese has allegedly committed against him, which include, allegedly instigating the then-Governor Godwin Obaseki to demolish his hotel, the Latifa Hotel and Suites that was demolished in 2020 by the former governor on the ground that the hotel was built on government primary school land even when an high court had issued a restraining order in 2019, ordering the then-Governor Obaseki to stop the demolition plan. The High Court later ruled against the Edo State government and ordered the government to rebuild the hotel and hands it over to the owner, Tony Kabaka. Although the Edo State Police Commissioner, Monday Agbonika, says he has arrested policemen seen venting their anger and destroying vehicles in Benin City after they were sent as a backup team to rescue their colleagues, some men of the Inspector General of Police Intelligence Response Team, IRT, who apparently were overpowered by a group of youths who protested, demanded and ensured the IRT officers released the suspects the special police officers had arrested on ground of alleged unlawful arrest, which to extort money from the suspects, forcing the protesting youths to vandalize the police vehicle at Okumwan quarters in Aluku area of Ovia Northeast local government area of Edo State last week, and in addition to this, The Inspector General of Police has also subjected 6 officers, including their supervisor, to a disciplinary action after a viral video that was circulated on TikTok and other social media platforms saw one of the officers of the Nigerian police force extorting money from travelers along the Benin bypass in Edo State under the pretense of enforcing the Electronic Central Motor Registry (ECMR) certificate, even when the Inspector General of Police has long suspended the enforcement since July 2024. According to the statement issued on Wednesday by the Edo Police Command spokesperson, Moses Yamu, you may recall the unfortunate attack on IRT personnel by some protesting youth at Okumwin community on the 20th of May 2025 while in transit from Lagos through Edo State, leaving them with various degrees of life-threatening injuries and their vehicle vandalized. A reinforcement team deployed to the scene successfully rescued these officers and effected the arrests of some of the miscreants involved in the attack. However, some officers were captured in a video conducting themselves in an unprofessional manner, smashing a vehicle parked in the location. Inasmuch as the command condemns the act of attacking the IRT personnel, it views the police conduct during the rescue as highly unprofessional. Therefore, these personnel who have been identified to be from the command's quick response team have been arrested and are currently undergoing disciplinary procedures as stipulated in the police regulations. CP Monday Agbonika, FDC called for mutual accountability from the general public as he assures the good people of Edo State of the command's commitment to delivering policing services in line with best practices, the police spokesperson stated. In another development, the police command spokesperson said that, in its sustained raids against criminals through credible intelligence that some persons suspected to be armed robbers, kidnappers, cultists were hibernating at Kendrona Hotel, operatives of the Anti-Money Laundering and Terrorism Financing Unit of the State Criminal Investigations Department, SCID, raided the location off Country Home Road, Benin City on the 13th of May 2025. During the operation, one endurance OVOG, 22 years, was arrested while others later identified as Clinton, Jeff, Mike, and Emmanuel alias Slim Khalifa surnames yet unknown escaped through the fence to neighboring compounds. The following exhibits were immediately recovered in their possession: 1 English Beretta pistol, 1 locally fabricated pistol, 1 ammunition, 18 live cartridges. Indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, on Monday reacted to a report released by SBM Security Intelligence and Reuters International News Agency publication of the report, which stated that over 776 people have been killed since August 9, 2021, when sit-at-home started every Monday in the southeastern states of Nigeria, with the SBM attributing the killings and the 30 travelers allegedly killed earlier this month around Akigwe, Owerri Highway and Umuna community in Onuimo local government area of Imo State to IPOB and ESN, Eastern Security Network. This, IPOB, in a rebuttal issued by its spokesperson, Emma Powerful, on Monday, accused the Nigeria National Security Advisor, Nuhu Rabadu, of allegedly plotting with the SBM and Reuters to give the Biafra group a bad name. IPOB, in a statement titled, SBM Intelligence, Reuters and Nuhu Rabadu's hatchet job against IPOB, a failed propaganda war, said the killing of 776 persons as alleged by the SBM was committed by kidnappers and other violent criminals allegedly sponsored by the government to carry out numerous atrocities in the southeast geopolitical of the country with a view to discredit and cause public disaffection against IPOB. According to the statement, the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, under the supreme leadership of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, categorically and unequivocally condemns in the strongest terms possible the latest hatchet job disguised as a report released by a faceless, compromised, and government-sponsored propaganda arm called SBM Intelligence, and amplified by the neo-colonial media outfit, Reuters, all under the shameful direction of Nigeria's National Security Advisor, Nuhu Rabadu. This laughable fabrication alleges that IPOB's sit-at-home actions resulted in 776 deaths and trillions in economic losses. This is not just a lie, it is a desperate concoction by a drowning regime grasping at straws. SBM intelligence is neither credible nor neutral. It is a mercenary outfit created to launder the image of failed regimes and discredit voices demanding justice and self-determination. Their so-called reports are fit only for the trash can of history, not the pages of reputable journalism. We challenge SBM Intelligence, Reuters, and Nuhu Rabadu. If you possess an ounce of evidence linking IPOB to these baseless allegations, take it to court. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is in detention and ready to confront these lies with unassailable truth. Instead of sponsoring international smear campaigns, why not test your fantasy before a judge? Let it be known and recorded that IPOB officially cancelled Monday sit-at-home in 2021, and our leader publicly disowned any individual or group enforcing such orders. Therefore, any attack attributed to a sit-at-home cannot be logically or factually linked to IPOB. This makes the SBM, Reuters report not only false but criminally deceptive. The timing of this publication is no coincidence. As the 30th of May Biafra Heroes Day approaches, a sacred both European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, and the United States, US President, Donald Trump have confirmed that the start date for the US newly imposed 50% tariff on goods not made or manufactured in the North America country, specifically, goods from European countries, has been shifted from June 1 to July 9, 2025 after the two leaders had a phone conversations on Sunday and agreed for an extension of time so that the 27 member countries that made up the EU single market bloc may be able to reach a good deal with the United States. President Trump said Sunday that the US will delay implementation of the 50% tariff on goods from the European Union from June 1 until July 9. He said he took the decision after he had a call on Sunday with Ursula von der Leyen, the president of the European Commission, who Trump said had told him that she wants to get down to serious negotiations. Trump told reporters while he was about to board a plane on Sunday that he has granted the request. "We had a very nice call, and I agreed to move it," Trump said before returning to Washington after a weekend in New Jersey. She said we will rapidly get together and see if we can work something out. On his Truth social media handle, President Donald Trump stated that, "I received a call today from Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, requesting an extension on the June 1 deadline on the 50% tariff with respect to trade and the European Union. I agreed to the extension July 9, 2025. It was my privilege to do so." The Commission President said that talks will begin rapidly. "Thank you for your attention to this matter." Ursula von der Leyen also on her X social media handle on Sunday said that she had a good call with the POTUS President of the United States, Donald Trump. The EU and US share the world's most consequential and close trade relationship. Europe is ready to advance talks swiftly and decisively. To reach a good deal, we would need the time until July 9, Ursula tweeted. We had reported that, as at the time of filing in news report on Saturday night, leaders in the European countries have kept mum ever since. On Friday, the United States, US President, Donald Trump announced plans to impose 50% tariff on goods not made in the North America country that comes from European countries, with a specific threat to impose 25% tariff on Apple if the iPhone manufacturer does not move production to the United States. This, President Donald Trump based his actions on what he claimed to be cases of unfair and unjustified lawsuits filed by the European countries against American companies among other reasons, but it could be recalled that earlier in the month of April 2025, when President Trump issued the first tariff threat of 25% on European goods, the immediate past Germany Chancellor, Olaf Scholz, had said that even if European countries did nothing in response to Donald Trump-imposed tariffs, the increased tariffs will cause big problems in the US economy, adding that Trump intending tariff increment on EU goods is an economic error, And the Nigeria High Court sitting in Lagos State has convicted and ordered the deportation of 12 Philippines or Filipinos after the Federal High Court found them guilty of engaging in the act of cyber terrorism with intent to cause disruption to Nigeria economy. And another court in Lagos State has ordered the closure of a collective investment scheme firm, CJC Markets Limited, over the firm failure to register with the Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC. Details of the reports as presented by the Public Relations Unit of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC reads verbatim below. Court jails 12 Filipinos for cyber terrorism, internet fraud in Lagos. Justice Yellen Bogoro of the Federal High Court sitting in Ikoyi, Lagos, on Friday, May 23, 2025, convicted and sentenced 12 Filipinos to 1 year imprisonment each for cyber terrorism and internet fraud. The convicts are Anjanette Topacio, Gladys Joy Mag-Iba, Jean Caligo, Shira May Reyes, Roseanne Gonzalez, Laurie Jane Tyag, Mary Grace de la Cruz, Crystal Aquilesca, Jonathan Agulto, Paz Camara, Vivian Pianella and Jonathan Mendoza. They were arraigned on Friday by the Lagos Zonal Directorate 1 of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, on separate charges of possession of fraudulent documents. One of the counts reads, that you, Anjanette Topacio, sometime in December 2024, in Lagos, within the jurisdiction of this honorable court, willfully caused to be accessed, computer systems organized to seriously destabilize and destroy the fundamental economic and social structure of Nigeria when you procured, employed Nigerian youths for identity theft and to hold themselves out as persons of foreign nationality, with the intent to gain a financial advantage for yourselves, and you thereby committed an offense contrary to and punishable under Section 18 of the Cybercrimes Prohibition, Prevention, etc. Act 2015, as amended 2024, and Section 2(3)(d) of the Terrorism Prevention, Prohibition Act 2022. Another charge reads, that you, Shira May Reyes, sometime in December 2024, in Lagos within the jurisdiction of this honorable court, had in your possession a document containing false pretense, printed from your telegram, wherein you posed to be a lady, living in the UK, which representation you knew to be false, thereby committed an offense, contrary to Section 6(8)(c) of the Advance Fee Fraud and Other Fraud-Related Offences Act, 2006 and punishable under Section 1(3) of the same Act. They all pleaded guilty to the charges when they were read to them. In view of their pleas, the prosecution counsel, N.K. Akoha and H.U. Kofaneza, respectively requested that the court convict the defendants as charged, in accordance with the plea bargain they had entered into with the commission. Justice Bogoro convicted and sentenced the defendants to 1 year imprisonment each, with a fine of 1 million nairas, 1 million naira. The judge also ordered the Controller General of the Nigeria Immigration Service (NIS), Mrs. Kemi Nanananda, Nigeria examination body responsible for conducting entry examinations for secondary school students to gain admission into higher institutions of learning in the West Africa country, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAM, on Sunday says it recorded a case of Nigeria students using artificial intelligence, AI, to indulge in the act of examination malpractice, specifically stating that the Nigeria students used AI to enhance photograph, but JAM refused to give further details on how the AI-enhanced photo was used to commit the examination fraud. JAM made this known in a statement issued to announce to the general public that the UTME rescheduled examination for candidates that were affected during the main exam due to hackers who allegedly caused technical problems in some centers students sat for the exam. In a statement released on Sunday and signed by JAM's public communication advisor, Dr. Fabian Benjamin, the board disclosed that 21,082 of the 336,845 candidates scheduled for the resit were absent. Details of the statement as reported by Sahara reporters reads below thus. Despite the turnout shortfall, JAM noted that the performance trends among candidates who took the resit remained within expected historical ranges, citing success rates from 11% in 2013 to 34% in 2016. Jam said claims that some candidates from the cancelled session scored highly and may wish to retain their results are entirely unfounded. It noted that in reality, only a handful of candidates scored as high as 217, while 99% scored below 200, demonstrating that there were no top performers in the cancelled sessions across the 6 affected states. However, the release of the results has been overshadowed by fresh revelations of widespread malpractice involving candidates, school proprietors, and computer-based test (CBT) centers. The board's chief external examiners, CEEs, led by Professor Olufemi Peters, Vice-Chancellor of the National Open University of Nigeria, (NAN), reviewed the resit exercise and brought in psychometrics expert Professor Boniface Nwogu to validate the results before they were released. Several critical resolutions were made during a nationwide meeting of CEEs, including the conditional release of results for underage candidates, those involved in online WhatsApp runs, and some of those who missed the resit for valid reasons. Jam explained that underage candidates, many of whom had earlier acknowledged in writing that only those who meet academic standards would be considered for special admission, had their results released for record purposes only, and they remain ineligible for admission. Similarly, candidates found to have engaged in academic misconduct using illicit WhatsApp groups and solicitation platforms were granted a one-time waiver. The board noted that it should not be misinterpreted as condoning wrongdoing, urging candidates to avoid antisocial and fraudulent networks. A final opportunity has also been extended to absentee candidates, particularly those who missed both the main UTME and the resit, via the annual mop-up examination. Meanwhile, several CBT centers have been blocked. Nigeria President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has denied being invited by the United States, U.S. President Donald Trump to a working visit to the White House, following a media statement circulated on the internet claiming to have been issued by the office of the Nigeria President. A spokesperson to the president, Bayo Onanuga, in a swift reaction on Sunday, said, "Those behind the press release are clickbaiters," adding, "The Nigeria has not received any of such letters of invitation from the US president." Bayo Onanuga, who described the writers of the press release as fake news propagators, said, "The law would soon catch up with the person or people behind the false and misleading information. Disinformation agents, hoax peddlers, fake news propagators, clickbaiters at work again. Whoever you are, one day, the law will catch you," Bayo Onanuga stated. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said that under his administration, Nigeria is not just one-party state but one party, making a difference. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stated this during the week, according to the news release made available to the public by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. According to the statement, President Bola Tinubu has attributed the All Progressives Congress, APC's growing support to its outstanding achievements in less than 2 years in office, assuring Nigerians that the country will not become a one-party state. At the APC Renewed Hope Agenda Summit, held at the State House Conference Center on Thursday, President Tinubu addressed party leaders, the National Working Committee, the leadership of the National Assembly, and the Progressive Governors Forum, which comprises 22 governors. All collectively endorsed him for a second term. The party convened the summit to review the administration's 2-year performance across key economic sectors. The president said his administration's focus on economic reforms for long-term gains has continued to receive positive reviews from within and outside the country. A one-party system is not suitable for democracy. We are one party ruling and carrying on with the aspirations of Nigerians. You don't expect people to remain in a sinking ship without a life jacket. I am happy with what we have accomplished and expecting more people to come. That's the game," he added. President Tinubu said citizens have the constitutional right to choose between associations. "I thank every one of you. I am thoroughly inspired. We are just halfway through the journey that started 24 months ago," he said. The president thanked members of the Federal Executive Council for courageously pursuing the vision of a better Nigeria and the party leadership and National Assembly for their support. Together, we pledge to confront Nigeria's challenges head-on by rebuilding the trust, fostering prosperity and restoring our nation's economic quest. Today, I am proud to affirm that our economic reforms are working. Nothing good comes easy in life. All of you have been through life, and sometimes, only hard decisions can make things easy in the future. We couldn't just afford to spend the future of our children and unborn babies. Through our renewed hope agenda, Nigerian army in a series of reports during the week says its troops have killed over 44 terrorists in different locations in Borno, Katsina and Sokoto states days after Boko Haram terrorists had on May 12 and 13, 2025 sacked the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN military base in Wulgo town, a Nigeria border town in Borno state of Ingala local government area, a throwstone to Cameroon in the shores of Lake Chad. Also, the Boko Haram terrorists attacked and sacked the 3 Battalion, a military formation in Ran, headquarters of Kala Balj local government area in Borno state, and the military base in Marte town in Marte local government area of Borno state, killing soldiers, overrunning the military formations, stealing arms and ammunitions and setting the military buildings ablaze including the armed forces operational vehicles, with the governor of Borno state, Professor Babagana Zulum, saying, the Boko Haram terrorists in recent days are currently in control of 299 communities out of a total of 300 communities in the Marte local government area of Borno state, meaning, the federal government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is barely and currently controlling one community after the Nigeria commander-in-chief of the armed forces whose supporters are apparently busy talking and preparing his re-election ahead of the country 2027 general elections had lost territories to terrorists and the Boko Haram terrorists appeared, aggressively advancing and retaking more territories in Nigeria. The Nation newspaper on May 21, 2025 reported that the Borno State Governor, Babagana Umar Zulum, continued his visit to communities affected by the recent surge in Boko Haram attacks by traveling to Wulgo town yesterday. Wulgo, located on the fringes of Lake Chad, was recently attacked by armed insurgents, forcing troops of the multinational Joint Task Force, hitherto protecting the town, to retreat. By visiting Marte, Kala Balj, and now Wulgo, Zulum aims to achieve a unified front in the fight against insecurity and to stimulate local support for sustainable peace and development. During his tour, the governor engaged with local leaders, listening to their concerns. He announced plans to accelerate the deployment of humanitarian aid, strengthen security efforts, and provide modern irrigation and rain farm implements to facilitate economic revitalization in the town. The governor emphasized the importance of community-led resilience programs while also encouraging residents to take an active role in shaping the recovery of their town. On May 19, 2025, Push newspaper reported that the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, has raised the alarm that only one town out of 300 remains under government control in Marte local government area, warning that Boko Haram terrorists are on the brink of taking over the entire local government area. The governor issued the warning on Sunday following his visit to the area, where he appealed to the federal government to urgently deploy decisive strategies to prevent Marte town from falling completely into the hands of Boko Haram, ISWAP insurgents. Public Relations Unit of the Nigerian Army reported that, in another daring as at the time of filing in this news report on Saturday night, leaders in the European countries have kept mum ever since on Friday, the United States, US President, Donald Trump announced plans to impose 50% tariff on goods not made in the North America country that comes from European countries, with a specific threat to impose 25% tariff on Apple if the iPhone manufacturer does not move production to the United States. President Donald Trump based his actions on what he claimed to be cases of unfair and unjustified lawsuits filed by the European countries against American companies among other reasons, but it could be recalled that, earlier in the month of April 2025, when President Trump issued the first tariff threat of 25% on European goods, the immediate past Germany Chancellor, Olaf Scholz had said that even if European countries did nothing in response to Donald Trump-imposed tariffs, the increased tariffs will cause big problems in the US economy, adding that Trump intending tariff increment on EU goods is an economic error. And the European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, had also in early April 2025 said that the EU countries is the largest single market in the world and the EU have what it takes to retaliate or strike back. President Donald Trump on Friday threatened tech giant Apple with a 25% tariff if the iPhone manufacturer doesn't move production to the United States. He later said trade talks with the European Union were progressing so poorly that a 50% tariff should be imposed next week, June 1, 2025. President Trump proposed that Apple build its iPhones in the US or face a 25% tariff. Tech analysts say that would balloon prices to $3,500 per phone, according to CNN senior data analyst Harry Enton, who analyzed the possible impacts the US president action may cause the North American residents. President Donald Trump has said he is recommending imposing 50% tariffs on goods from the European Union being imported to the United States. Our discussions with them are going nowhere, he said in a post on social media on Friday. The announcement marks an escalation of Trump's trade war with the EU, which has already been hit with a blanket 20% tariff on all US exports, according to US media. Their powerful trade barriers, VAT taxes, ridiculous corporate penalties, non-monetary trade barriers, monetary manipulations, unfair and unjustified lawsuits against Americans' companies, and more, have led to a trade deficit with the US of more than $250 million a year, a number which is totally unacceptable, he wrote in a Truth Social post on Friday morning. Our discussions with them are going nowhere. Trump wrote, therefore, I am recommending a straight 50% tariff on the European Union, starting on June 1, 2025. The tariff Trump is considering slapping on the EU is more than double the size of the 20% initial, reciprocal, tariff that was briefly in place in April before he swiftly paused those tariffs to allow for further negotiations, CNN stated.
Brigitte, bringing you the news in a more digital way.